Hello and welcome to the show. You're watching Tech 24. I'm Julia Seeger. In this edition, as a faulty recognition match has led to the arrest of an innocent man in Michigan, we take a look at the underlying racial and gender bias of the technology. We'll dig deeper into the subject with MIT's Buolamwini, the founder of the Algorithmic Justice League, who is helping correct the code. And in Test 24, Dan and Jay Kattolkar will try Samsung Sero TV, which rotates between landscape and portrait orientations, depending on what kind of content you're watching. Now, like their American counterparts in Silicon Valley, French tech companies are searching for ways to become more diverse. Since 2017, the industry has been working with the government to try and make that happen. But to speed things along the way, a number of nonprofit associations have popped up to make headway on what is proving a long and difficult process. Solange Moujan, Nina Masson, and Armel Coe have this.
30-something, white, male, prestigious diplomas. That's your classic pedigree for a tech industry worker in France and around the world. In Silicon Valley, black hires make up 3% of employees at the top 5 tech firms. For years, they say they've been trying to change that, with little progress. In France as well. In 2017, the government launched the French Tech Tremplin, or Stepping Stone. It aims to bring more diversity and inclusiveness into the nation's digital companies, a goal that's being fought for by nonprofits, too. Munira Hamdi is a digital entrepreneur. 2 years ago, she founded Diversidays, an association to make tech accessible to all.
There's this image we have of the digital world, one that makes people say, it's not for me, it's too fast, I'm not up for it, I won't have time to switch careers. We try little by little to break down each and every one of these preconceived notions. That's the goal of Diversidays.
Every year, Munira travels around France looking for undiscovered talent. Individuals her program calls Diversamakers, or digital whizzes that come from underprivileged backgrounds. People who, through their online expertise, can also help the tech world become more diverse. Daniela Chana is one of them. She created an education platform that helps students get into Paris's most prestigious schools.
Bonjour et bienvenue.
Le but, c'est de pouvoir donner les mêmes chances de réussite à tous les jeunes qui voudraient intégrer des grandes écoles. À chaque fois que j'ai des élèves, je leur dis que tout est possible. Ne jamais se limiter à d'où on vient, ne jamais se limiter à sa couleur de peau, ne jamais se limiter au fait qu'on soit une femme ou bien, voilà. Tout est possible. Il suffit juste de se donner les moyens.
The Diversidays program has already mentored 40 young entrepreneurs, each and every one of them striving to make their mark on the tech world through their ideas and by making it a more diverse, inclusive place.
She describes herself as a poet of code. Jo Buolamwini is a graduate researcher at MIT. She has helped uncover large racial and gender bias in AI services from companies like Microsoft, IBM, and Amazon. This topic is making headlines as an innocent man in Michigan was arrested and detained for 30 hours based on a faulty facial recognition match. The cities of San Francisco and Boston have decided to ban the use of the technology, as it now appears it is widely inaccurate for people of color. Well, for more on this, let's turn to Joy Buolamwini, the founder of the Algorithmic Justice League. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Now, Amazon, IBM, and Microsoft are distancing themselves from the facial recognition business. Can we actually trust them on this claim?
Well, it is welcome news to hear 3 tech giants distancing themselves from face recognition technology, whether it's to no longer sell it, which is with IBM, or to put a pause on it, which is the case of Microsoft and Amazon. But we cannot take this for granted, because even though these are 3 household names, you have other companies like NEC, Cognitech, Rank One, who provide these sorts of technologies to law enforcement and other entities. So it is not just the case of 3 companies backing away. We really have to think about an entire ecosystem. And also, we can't just wait for companies to decide they might self-regulate in some manner. It's up to companies to keep the business interests first, and it's up to us and our lawmakers, our policymakers, to keep the public interest. So what we need to make sure happens is that we put laws in place to provide red lines and guidelines for how we manage this complex set of facial recognition technologies. And the Algorithmic Justice League, we support a full ban on face surveillance. So the use of facial recognition technology for mass surveillance, where you get the Orwellian state.
Wait, racial justice does indeed require algorithmic justice, as witnessed in what happened in Michigan this week. You've really made that clear through your work at MIT on profiling bias. But how can we improve the system from a tech perspective? I mean, what are the solutions out there?
So we are seeing with, for example, the case of Robert Williams, who was falsely matched by face recognition and then wrongfully arrested, that the issues of these technologies have real world consequences. Oftentimes there's a question of how do we improve the technologies, but we have to keep in mind that accurate systems can also be abused. So it's really a question of how we improve the system and how we decide what kinds of technologies we want in society and which ones we don't. When it comes to facial recognition technologies, they're dangerous when they work, and they're also dangerous when they don't work. So when they don't work, you get a situation, right, where somebody's being mismatched and then falsely arrested, or maybe even worse. And when they do work, we have to ask, what kind of society do we want to be living in?
Now, after San Francisco, Boston has just banned facial recognition from its streets. Are those two cities setting the trend for good, do you think?
So oftentimes we hear that technology is already out in the world, there's nothing we can do about it. But when we see cities like Boston standing up to ban face surveillance, we see that that narrative is simply not true. We have a voice, we have a choice. If you have a face, you have a place in this conversation, and we can choose to live in societies that are not subject to suppressive surveillance. So when I see what has happened in Boston, what happened in San Francisco, Oakland, Berkeley, Cambridge, Brookline, what's happened in the state of California to stop putting facial recognition on police body cams, we do see that people, when they know about the harms, can mobilize, can organize. Our lawmakers can step up and make sure that we are protecting the public interest. So for me, this recent announcement from Boston to ban face surveillance is an affirmation that the people do have a choice, and right now we must choose to act.
Now, I really see you as a tech avenger and a poet of code, as you say. You've really become a role model for some. Did you actually expect your work would be at the center of such a cause?
So I refer to myself as a poet of code, not only because I'm technical, but I understand the importance of storytelling. And what the job of a poet is to make sure that society pauses to reflect. And where we are with AI systems, where we are with facial recognition systems is really a crossroads for society. When I started my research about 5 years ago, not so many people were talking about this, but because I knew we were talking about people's faces, something so close, something so visceral to you, I did anticipate that at some point this would be a major conversation. And I feel extremely fortunate that it's now gone on to an international level. So this is beyond what I imagined, but I knew its importance from the beginning.
Now, you just mentioned that you're a poem, you write poems. Would you mind sharing one with us here on Tech 24?
I'm a poet of code on a mission to show compassion through computation. I tell stories that make daughters of diasporas dream and sons of privilege pause. I interrogate AI systems and I ask questions like, can machines ever see my queens as I view them? Can machines ever see our grandmothers as we knew them?
Well, that was beautiful. Joy Buolamwini, thank you very much indeed for that. And we're going to move on now to Test 24. The thinking behind the TV we're showcasing this week on Tech24 is that a portrait orientation will mean it will better show Instagram stories, TikTok videos, Snapchat content, and any other videos typically shot vertically rather than horizontally. Well, to speak more about it, I'm joined by Dhananjay Kadalkar, our in-house expert. Hello, Dan.
Hello, Julia.
This concept seems completely wacky. How does it work?
Well, before I mention any specifications about the television, let me just give a little demonstration. It said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So let's first see how it works. So I have my Instagram account open. It's an account of I'm just checking out the account of the European Space Agency. And as you mentioned, for Instagram, you normally use the portrait mode. So you'll see here, whatever I'm seeing on phone is mirrored on this television. And now if I want to watch, say, a YouTube video, or if I want to watch a movie, I launch the video and I just turn this mobile phone, and you can see the screen goes in a landscape mode. So it's very useful because I have been personally using mobile phone to watch content on a bigger screen,
right,
like all these streaming platforms, but I don't have the luxury of enjoying my Instagram or Twitter accounts on a big screen. So this is something that the Samsung Zero provides. So how does it work? Well, there's a motor behind this TV that detects the movement of the phone. So the gyroscope inside the phone, the movement of the gyroscope is detected by the TV, and that's how you get the movement of the TV as per the rotation of the mobile phone. Now, it's a 43-inch television. It is QLED and it is a 4K TV. Overall, I think there are multiple features, as it can also integrate in your home decor. So you can also display a piece of art or
right,
some photographs, and it will seamlessly integrate with the surroundings inside your house. So yeah, overall, there are multiple features, and it costs 1,500 euros.
Dhananjay Kadalkar, thank you very much indeed for that. Well, that actually brings us to the end of this week's edition of Tech24. You can watch it again on our website, France24.com. See you soon.